Welcome, guys. I'm back. I'm sorry I left you. I'm sorry I abandoned you, but I promise I'm back for at least some time now. I've just got a hell of a lot going on my end. So, what I've got for you as a returning gift is an insight into the Charlie's Charmanders coaching call. Now, Charlie Charmanders, they called themselves that. They are a group of beautiful humans who I believe are, first of all, talented at poker, and second of all, I think if they became rich bitches, they would end up doing very good things with their money. So, there's a group of us, and every now and again, I'll hop on a call and do a little coaching review, whether it's of cash games or of tournaments. And I think that this will hopefully be very useful and instructive for people who might go about speaking about hands or speaking about strategy with their friends. But often when I've seen other people do that, it turns into a bit of a clown show. There's not much structure to it, and they end up just arguing back and forth about kind of not super relevant things. And this hopefully will be a good insight into what I believe is a very good way to approach speaking about hands. And also I believe that I share a lot of very good knowledge about how to beat low stakes tournaments. So these are highlights of the session, and on my new and improved website, charliecarrel.com, you can find the rest of the footage for $5 per hour. And I think there's 4 hours of it, and if you buy all four, you get, I guess, 25% off. Can't remember exactly what I said, but it's cheap as fuck anyway for coaching. Considering, I charge a lot for coaching, I'm trying to give cheap content so it's still making money for me / my charity, and then also affordable for you guys. Second of all, I've had a lot of people say that they're considering buying my masterclass. It's my mindset / spirituality masterclass and my poker masterclass, but the money is a bit tight. So I've made an offer, 40% off for the first 20 people of each one. And it's the first time I've done an offer like that, but it's feeling generous over the new year. And I hope that at least gives people the ability to be able to bankroll it, because I know that each one of these investments is something that people have to be very careful and considerate about, especially if you're a poker player. You're thinking, okay, I've got like a $500 on the bankroll. Do I want to spend this on coaching? Do I want to spend on that? And it's like, do I want to spend more than 10%? Do I want to spend more than 20%? Hopefully, this will bring more people over the mark of being able to afford good content. So, enjoy. Does he know he's streaming? Fuck yeah, he knows he's streaming. Set this up for the last 26 million hours. Of course I know I'm streaming. Get your sets out in the chat, boys. Oh, Reba. So we're going to be opening 7-5 suited because we're on a table of bitches. Yes, we've got him, boys. We've got him now. Damn, he's played back against our 7-5 suited. Guys, type shh in the chat.
Maybe we open this?
Yeah, and until they give us other reasons, we can assume that their 3-bets are generally pretty strong.
Yeah, especially
Whoa!
Whoa, no!
I mean, if you're gonna call like the last
good
one,
fold, carry on.
If you're gonna fold the last one and call this one, what are you doing?
This
Guys.
goes so against what I was expecting you to how to be playing.
Guys, I thought I folded this. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so we have a flop. So let's pretend that didn't happen, and we'll just yeah, we've got Queen Jack off and a 3-bet pot. What do you want from me? This is completely normal. So what are we thinking?
Probably just gonna check to him and hope he bets.
Hope he bets?
Oh no, just see what he does. Sorry. Can't wait to just check 4x pot. Check raise 4x pot. Okay, so check on this flop.
So you can definitely consider leading this flop,
especially with the Queen Jack off, yeah.
Just to be clear, this isn't a snap check with all hands. There are going to be a bunch of hands that you want to start leading.
Like what?
So for instance, if you have a set, you probably want to start leading. If you have a flush, you probably want to start leading. With this hand, I think that it's just about the kind of boards that you can expect his heir to just check. Most of the time, and then that means you get a very profitable turn bet most of the time, as long as the turn isn't like an ace or a king.
Charlie, something that came to mind for me was 6 and 7s with a diamond, like leading small. What do you think to that?
No, because then it's just really annoying if we get raised.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, you want to choose when you're leading. You want to always be thinking like, what happens if they call? What happens if they raise?
Okay.
So obviously, if they call and we have 6s and 7s with the dime, we're pretty happy about it.
Would you not hate to be raised if you led like with this hand? I know it's like marginal. We've got a queen high flush draw. Is that not in the same bracket? Like, I understand that we can fold out ace 10.
So obviously, we just have to fold if he raises because he could just have like aces with a diamond.
Yeah, sure.
Something. I also don't think that people bluff raise this.
No, I agree.
So we know we're not being bluffed. So we've kind of sniffed out that we're just crushed.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you definitely have a choice of leading like a third here and just getting him to fold all his overcards. You could even lead a quarter. And there are better examples of this. This isn't the best one because checking in this spot is actually really cool as well, because then when the turn's like a fucking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc., and queen or jack, we're just super happy.
Yeah, there's some spots later where I do the just like donking the big blind thing that you were talking about that we can go over. Because I was like, this guy's just gonna fold a lot, or he's gonna see bet a lot, and I don't want to check raise, so I'm gonna lead. But yeah,
good. I'm excited for that.
So when it goes check, I'm pretty sure that like this guy from like what I'd seen at this point like probably won't have a diamond when it goes check, or if he does, it'll be like really weak diamonds, like 7 diamond, like 9 a diamond, 10 a diamond type stuff. I don't think he's ever gonna have
like, really weak hand, like the straight
just like straight flush diamonds.
It wasn't a straight flush on the flop.
Okay.
But do you think he has that many of those? Like all his, like the 7 of diamonds. It's a suited. It's a flush already. Like it's A7 of diamonds.
Struggling there.
If he's got a 9, he's not gonna have like a random 9 of, unless it's like a pair of 9s. But he probably doesn't.
There was one more really stupid thing you said as well. So let's get them all out. Hold on, guys. We're handling this well. You also said, from what I've seen of him up to this point, which has been like an orbit and a half.
So I think it might have been 20 hands.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, do we expect him to have a lot of 7x in his 3-bet range, though?
All right.
Okay, so we're assuming that he's just a normal recreational or low stakes player. When he 3-bets, he's probably just going to have a bunch of big cards, like big pairs and overcards. And when he checks, he's either going to have something like aces, no diamond, maybe something like ace king with a diamond, or something like ace king without a diamond. We're expecting ace king with a diamond to be betting most of the time, but it can be checking. So actually, we're not in that great a spot because there's nothing really to get value from at all. So what you could consider here is trying to make ace king without a diamond bluff. That's a dangerous game to be playing because if he does have a diamond, then you're going for it. If not, then I don't know what you do. You just check and hope he hits that fucking pair on the river and min bet. So there aren't too many great options in this spot.
Okay. So I'm super happy to check again. He bets a third.
Right. Just to be clear here, we're obviously calling. Just to be clear, tank for like 30 seconds.
Oh, I did the thing where we use like 3 seconds of time back to be like, oh shit, I'm in my time back. Don't use my time back. Better just call.
I love doing that, but be aware when you're against a very astute player, they'll see that as strength.
Yeah,
I remember Greg Merson specifically saying that when people just go into the time bank, it's always so super nutted.
Yeah, but fish. And then he just bets half on the river. And I'm like, probably not great. I'm just going to snap anyway because fuck you. Yeah. And he has. Any guesses?
All right. Now you've said that, I'm going to guess something like
ace king.
Ace queen off.
Just super fucking normal. Oh, okay. Perfect. Oh, I would have guessed ace king or ace queen if you didn't say in that fucking clown voice.
I thought he had ace king and we got him to bluff just like you'd said 10 seconds ago.
I see.
He didn't quite have it. Yeah.
Now for the rest of the video, we just always see Frank calling Queen Jack off out of position because of that recent bias. Just like, oh shit.
The 10-9. This hand just gets me in trouble a lot. Whoa, what's this? 3x.
So interesting. Why are we 3-betting?
Re-entries and chippy v variants.
It's
And the
absolutely
beautiful
fine to
10-9.
3-bet. It just goes against your previous decisions of how to play this guy. Maybe you had your HUD and he had a high 3-bet.
Yeah. My 100 hands I had on him. Yeah. I was just like, yeah, this guy.
I mean, if he's folded like 6 out of 7 3-bets, there's a good chance that he's going to be folding too much. To 3-bet.
Also, I think at this point I hadn't 3-bet a single hand, and I thought it would get a lot more respect.
I do not ever think like that when I'm playing against these.
Good, neither do I. That was a joke.
maybe in like late stage tournaments, that's when they're like one tabling, that's when you can start taking that into account. But like you never know if this guy's playing like 20 tables.
Oh well,
And,
look at this
Like,
flop.
I'm sure he's noticed that I haven't 3-bet this recently, and he's like fucking spamming. So one of the things is that when deciding whether to 3-bet or not, you need to be thinking how wide is their opening range. So if you think he's 3xing all of his hands, then obviously that's good because we get to win more chips when we 3-bet and he folds, and that means he doesn't have a stronger range. If we think that he's going smaller with his smaller hands, which is not that common, but it happens with recreational players, then this is a terrible 3-bet. One thing to bear in mind is that if you have your RFI stats on your HUD, again, not recommending people use HUDs because ethics, but if you do have your RFI stats, that's how much they open from each position, raise first in. And if they have a high RFI in the cutoff, then this is a great 3-bet. You know, if they have like 40%, because you're going small, which means it's very cheap. You get to win 3x instead of the normal 2.2 or whatever. And he's just got a bunch of hands in there, like fucking ace 5 off, that are just going to have to fold. So this definitely could be good. It might be significantly better against the button, against a recreational player. One good thing, which for some reason I've literally never heard any other high stakes player mention, when you're 3-betting recreational players, say they're on the button and you're on the small blind or the big blinds, you can go really small because they're not calling even if they have something like a7 off when you 3-bet. It's the same kind of thing that they're not paying attention to your size. They're just paying attention to the fact that you've re-raised them.
Yeah.
So you could just go small and make them fold a bunch of their range instead of having to go like the normal size that a lot of the high stakes pros would go against a recreational player, which is like fucking 5.5x, which is just insanity because they're doing the same with their cards pretty much all the time anyway, no matter what size you go. So you can bluff small and then just value their big.
All right.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, do you think the sizing was small in this spot?
Well, like, how small do you go? Like 2.5x, 3x?
So what was the first question?
The question is like, it's just slightly less than 3x, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the sizing is fine, you think? Like, I would have probably gone like bigger as what I thought when I saw this.
Again, it just depends on what you want to achieve. Like going this size can be absolutely fine if you think that the person has a really wide opening range and then is going to be folding lows to this size. So one thing is really important is not to get stuck in the mindset, this like rigid ideology that a lot of poker players do, which is like, oh, I'm 3-betting out of position, so I have to 3-bet bigger, because that's what all the coaching sites have taught me. That is one of the things that goes through the poker world, which is just absolute nonsense, because we have a hand, they have a range. We're in a very specific, unique situation. Every hand that we play, we're playing the unique situation. So we're not taking these general rules and applying to all situations. So when we're out of, let's say this guy's opened the button on 3x and we know he's opening, say like 60% on the button. Going this small is beautiful because most recreational players are just going to be folding most of their hands anyway. So we're just printing money. So there's really not any point to going bigger. Whereas if we have ace king, then perhaps we want to go a bit big, like a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe like
with value hands, we want to go bigger, and like with hands which we want playability, we want to go like where we can keep the SPR up, right?
Yeah, and it's very situation dependent. Like sometimes when you have aces, you want to go really small You know, if you're like 30 big deep against a recreational player, you might want to like 2x 3-bet it.
Right.
It's very true, actually. It's something that I would. I don't. You're completely right, but in game, you just you default, and I just keep it all the same. Do what everyone else does, and not really think about like the spots like as detailed as I should. And it's so true.
Agreed. Yeah.
And you can do it with even just your opening sizes as well. I probably should bleep that out. To like tell people.
It was one of those things that I start doing later on in the tournament, because I remember you saying it. It was just like, people are just going to think you're adjusting to that person's big blind and like stuff like that, and no one will ever pick it up because you're not playing enough hands. So I literally something, and it was just like, I'm so good.
Hey, Charlie, on the you were playing a hand. I think it was like button versus small blind on Ace King 8, 10 turn, and you went 90% on the turn, and then you went 90% on the river, like 27 big blinds into 30. What did you have there?
At Ace 10.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of those spots. I'm probably not going to explain the whole thought process of that hand, because it's a very like adjusting to a GTO player's strategy. But it's a situation where a good high stakes reg would expect me to barrel off with a lot of hands there. So I was going as size actually to get called by all of it's just like second pairs.
Yeah,
Because
fair enough.
He would think that I might be barreling a fuck ton with a lot of like just fucking like 6-7s, just complete air. But yeah, not going to be teaching that stuff, because you're not going to be playing against those people.
Charlie using his image of being a lunatic.
Not yet.
Okay, so I got third here. I think just like, I don't see the point in going any smaller or bigger. I don't know if like a quarter pot is like saving some chips, because I expect him to either just like call or fold here.
So that the one crucial part of this is that we know that we're going to be double barreling. We have a hand that's just going to be at least double barreling. Yeah. So we know that we kind of want him to call pretty wide on the flop. But also we kind of want to get value from his like ace queens and pocket sixes, something like that. So it's the same kind of spot. We're going for value on the flop, and then we're going to bluff that out on the turn. So I like the size again. I think it's good. I think that we'll get called from ace queens, maybe like king queen of hearts, and then a bunch of pairs, and some jack X will call as well.
He calls. We make a flush.
All right. Thoughts?
So my first thought was check and trap. Brilliant. And then I was like, am I going to trap and he's just going to like not do anything? And I was like,
Wait, was this actually your thought process?
Oh no. I was like,
okay. Let's be serious for a second.
Okay. I was like, I think I'm just going to check raise in this spot. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, and I kind of hate that was my thought process in this spot.
Are you serious? Or was your thought?
Yeah, no, I was genuinely like, I think I'm going to
yourself.
check raise here. I was like, I'm just going to check raise. I think he's got loads of like king X that floats and just will never fold the turn.
So I think he has almost no king X.
Okay.
I think that he could have ace king, but that probably 4-bets.
Yeah, I think ace king probably 4-bets, right?
And then he could have king jack, and then he could have king queen of hearts, something like that. But there's just not that much of it.
Okay.
So the hands that I'm really thinking about are something like king jack, other flushes obviously, which probably just getting in. Then he's also going to have some like ace jack, maybe with the ace of clubs, something like that. He might have some like ace 10 with the ace of clubs if he's calling a bit wide pre. Although that would obviously be fine against our tiny 3-bet. And then he's going to have a bunch of jack X, like queen jack of hearts. And then, and the other thing is he might have some like 8s with a club. So it's actually, there's not actually that much to get value from. So, and there's also not that much that will turn itself into a bluff. either.
Okay.
So it's not that great a spot
Okay.
as
think-
pots go.
I think I decide to check.
Yeah, What?
Gleichfalls.
say again.
Oh,
What?
Okay, everything all right?
Rocky, you okay?
Should we call the Gestapo?
The German. Wow. Okay.
I like betting tiny here,
I thought about the betting too small was good.
like 1K2 or something.
Yeah, I don't know why, but my intuition says probably just bet big. I think just because in these kind of spots where there's not really much to be said, I just kind of hope that we're up against a really stationary person that for some reason thinks that we're bluffing.
I've just remembered what happens in this hand.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get to that, won't we?
Okay. So I check and he bets a third.
All right, we're check.
Oh
raise.
no, not a third.
Basically a third.
Okay. And yeah, like my plan earlier was to check raise, so I obviously just call.
Seems fair. See, this is actually this is completely fine as well. Like if we think there's a chance that he might just be bluffing some of his like.
And then I thought he might bet the river, so I check again.
And we not check raising, right? Because we never get called by better.
Oh,
By worse.
I'm check raising for sure.
Okay.
Don't know about you guys, but when he bets that small, I don't think he's got a very nice hand very often.
yeah.
And do you shove or do you make it like a smaller, like 3x or something?
I probably just literally min raise to try and get a call from King Jack.
He can have King Jack for this size.
So,
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I think in game my thought process is like, oh, if I raise, what worse is going to call? Oh, I don't want ace x, and like I think I just played the spot a bit too nitty, and I definitely raised. This is like a massive value hand.
I mean, it's probably easy to like check raise fold because he's never gonna shove.
Yeah,
better.
we're definitely folding to a shove, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to shove very often. That's the
So
thing.
then it's-
When people
Yeah, but then it's easy.
when people bet this size, they're pretty much saying like, "Hey, I don't have a nut hand,"
Mm.
because it looks like we can have ace king.
Yeah.
So I think just min raise is the one.
I think I would
Yeah.
go 9999.
I don't. I think this is a mistake. I think you're right. I think I should just like literally just like click it back or like make it like 9.2k or something. But you know, nit life. What are you gonna fucking do? I win the hand. All right. And I don't get any tough spots. And he has.
Club.
Maybe,
Aces.
yeah, I'm feeling. Fuck, I don't know actually.
Aces with a club. Could you imagine?
I don't know. I'm going King Jack.
Aces.
Okay. He has the 8k,
Very nice, very nice.
which you know.
Part of me just feels like this is a really uncomfortable hand to like check on the turn.
Why?
Because I just feel like it's in that zone where it's like you feel slightly uncomfortable about kind of check raising it, but I don't know. I just quite like just going bet.
Looks super strong though, right? Like probably folds
I mean, we are super
like
strong.
ace king. Yeah, but like we want to get like it doesn't matter if we look super strong. We like with a good hand, we want to get more chips and get called. Like just
But I mean,
just bet, and then betting on the river and him just like tank folding ace king is like a disaster, right?
I don't think he's going to tank fold ace king.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
never
I think
folded
he
ace king.
calls it. I think you get called off by
Yeah,
like.
but the point
king
is
jack.
we don't think he has ace king very often
Yeah,
because we assume he should four bet ace king.
I was kind of just watching to see how you guys might communicate. It was a bit of a shit show. So to get the structure back, we don't know what his range is exactly. We don't know what's best. There are definitely arguments for bet. There are definitely arguments for check call, and there are definitely arguments for check raise. I've played a lot of poker. I have no idea what's the best. There's literally no way of possibly knowing what was best in this situation. So as long as you had a solid thought process, then that's absolutely fine. So if you had assumptions that, you know, he might still be betting this size on the turn in the river with a flush, with something like ace-8 of clubs, then you played this absolutely fine. And if you think that he might start bluffing some like pocket eights, then you've played it absolutely fine. As long as your assumptions match up to your actions, then that's completely fine. So that's what I'm trying to understand is how, when you're playing this, like, did you call the river because you were uncertain and playing like a bit of a pussy? Or did you have like a genuine thought process of like, okay, this is what I think his range is, so I'm going to call.
Yeah, so on the river, I was like, if I raise, like, what worse hands are going to call? Like, I just don't think like at this stage of a tournament, like anyone's going to call an 8 high flush, and I don't think he has ace king. I don't think he has king 9 that calls a 3-bet. So I'm really targeting just like king jack exactly, which is like like a handful of combos. And like, I just didn't think anything worse was going to call a raise. Expected ace king to 4-bet.
I think that's a completely fine thought process. The only reason that I would consider raising on that river is because he went so small that I think that might actually outweigh the other factors, because that size on that river in this spot, when it looks like we can have something like ace king, pocket queens along those lines, it looks like a thin value bet to me at least. But but it might be a thin value bet with the fucking ace high flush. So completely fine to just call, and completely fine to check call the turn as well. I think, like we said, it's one of those situations. There's just so many variables with, and it's really hard to get loads of value from any hands.
Okay, cool.
We're also trying not to go broke against bigger flushes
and boats.
and boats.